Hello? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know where everybody else is. Do I start now or do I wait?
What did you say?
Do I start now or should I wait?
I don't know.
Ah. I'm gonna ask in the WeChat group. Anyway, I'm gonna start. So the Russians, they play strategy called a Scorched Earth policy. The Russians burned their fields, grain fields, and slaughtered their livestock to leave nothing for the enemy to eat. Napoleon's huge army eventually starved to death because they simply could not get any supply. So Napoleon brought nearly 450,000 people to Russia, and only 10,000 returned. Since then, Napoleon's empire wasn't able to recover from such heavy losses. Plus, he realized that the European countries had united to fight him. He could not fight the whole Europe. So, after his final defeat on the last critical battle, the Battle of Waterloo, he was surrounded. Well, after the war, Napoleonic War had brought too many destructions to Europe. After the war, the European main powers gathered together and discussed plan in Europe. Most of the decisions were made in Vienna during the winter of 1814 to 1815. They were made in secret among representatives of the five great powers: Russia, Prussia, Austria, Great Britain, and France. So the countries wanted to prevent future French aggression by surrounding France with stronger countries. In this way, France could really use a great time to thrive. Then a balance of power should be restored in Europe, they said. So that no country will be powerful than any of others. And so no country will be a threat to others. And finally, the countries wanted to restore French royal family to the thrones and they held before Napoleon's conquest. Louis XVI was beheaded, and after Napoleon, Louis XVIII was back. Despite their efforts to undo the French Revolution, the leaders of the countries at the Congress of Vienna could not turn back the clock. Revolutionary ideas had spread across Europe. People wanted the absolute monarchy to share more power with the legislature. They don't want the absolute monarchy to be an absolute monarchy. And people in the lower classes still look forward to the famous quote, liberty, equality, and fraternity. However, these were all gone. When the absolute monarchy rejected all these ideas, this would contribute directly to revolutions in the 1830s and 1848. We just ended a revolution and there are more coming. We can find many details about the revolution in 1830s in the book Les Miserables by Victor Hugo. In the book, Hugo described how people lived in lower classes. It was unfair for them to live such a miserable life, while the bureaucracy possessed much of the wealth. Yet only a few stood up and fought against the mistreatment. What was pathetic is that people were so numb, they had seen too much warfare and refused to fight. The sounds of oppositions were considered revolts instead of revolutions. These events not only took place in France, but also in other European continents, like Prussia. Austria, and Italy. What the monarchs were afraid of eventually happened, and we could see every star is a revolt. And there are many countries involved. in the revolutions. So the revolution in 1830 was a failure, but it provided the groundwork for successful revolutions in 1848. So it was greatly led by Louis Napoleon Bonaparte, the nephew of Napoleon Bonaparte. So Napoleon won the presidential election of the Second Republic of France. 4 years later, copying his uncle, Louis took the title of emperor, Napoleon III. So next we have nationalism. During the 1800s, nationalism helped to build nation states. Nationalists were not loyal to the kings, but to their people, to those who speak the same language, share the same culture, or the same race. Gradually, monarchs began to see that nationalism has the power to unify masses of people. They soon began to use nationalist feeling for their own purposes. An example would be Japanese war of aggression against China. 日本侵华战争. Without any government interference, basically every Chinese stood up and fought against the Japanese invaders. And this is nationalism. Leaders of the country still use nationalism as a tool to achieve their goals. Nationalism is a very powerful thing, yet it might be dangerous. So, the unification of Italy. I was lucky enough to find this group of pictures showing the steps of Italian unification. So, firstly, the small kingdoms were formed together, and then after brief fightings, and they joined together with the kingdom of Sardinia, and Sardinia gained help from southern Italy. A small army of Italian nationalists led by a bold and visionary leader called Garibaldi, and captured many land in the kingdom of the Two Sicilies. And so this land were formed together with Sardinia. And the fighting never stops. An Italian, we could see that the Papal State was a peace that Italy could not gain, because that's where the Pope lived, and you cannot attack the Pope. Sardinia didn't dare to conquer this area, so it took years of political negotiation to solve this problem. The Pope finally agreed to give his territory to Italy. By moving into the Vatican City, Italy is finally united. So this is Garibaldi and his red shirts. And this is the Vatican City the Pope lives in now. It's very small. So the German unification. Like Italy, Germany also achieved national unity in 1870s. Beginning in 1815, 39 German states formed a loose group called the German Confederation. The Austrian Empire dominated the Confederation. However, Prussia was ready to unify all the German states. In 1862, the King of Prussia, William I, chose a conservative Junker, means the noble in German, named Otto von Bismarck, as his prime minister to help him to expand the power of Prussia. Bismarck was a master for what came to be known as a Realpolitik. a German term that means political of reality. This term was later known as the blood and iron policy. So Bismarck was almost assassinated by a young man. Bismarck was lucky he only got a skin trauma. But after this event, Bismarck kept the assassinator's pistol. He believes that the reason he survived is that God wants him to start the war to unite Germany. So Austria didn't stand with Prussia, and he couldn't watch the Prussia annexing small German states one by one with overwhelming military power. So Austria declared war on Prussia in 1866. This conflict was known as the Austro-Prussian War, and in Germany and Austria, this war was known as Bruderkrieg, which means the brother war. Because they are all German people in Austria and Germany. The Prussians used better training and equipment to win a devastating victory. The Austrians had to accept the Prussian annexation of more German states. So France at the time was alliance with Austria, and when the war broke out, French think that Austria will win the war, so they didn't send any troops to help Austria. But Austria didn't win, and so this gave Germany a break and to focusing on something more important, to focusing on the plot. So we see that the northern part of the light green and dark green in the map was almost annexed to Germany, but the southern part, the yellow area, the Bavaria, still remained. And Bismarck thought that he could win the support of Bavaria if they faced a threat from outside. So he reasoned that a war with France could convert the South. By provoking the French people, France declared war on Prussia. And this time, Louis Napoleon, Napoleon's nephew, wasn't able to copy his uncle's success. France lost the Franco-Prussian War. So Bavaria, like Bismarck thought, joined the German Empire. On January 18th, 1871, at the captured French palace of Versailles, King William I of Prussia have crowned Kaiser or Emperor. Germans called their empire the Deutsche Kaiserreich. So we could see that actually these unifications were all led by one thing, which is nationalism. Nationalism actually have a very powerful branch. It's a language, 语言。那么说语言呢，它其实是一个特别重要的一个东西，它呢很强大。当然说它呢也可以有很多负面作用。因为说举个例子，如果说你在外面旅游的时候，然后你会听见可能会有国人用中国话在交谈，然后这个时候呢你能听懂他们，但是其他外国人都听不懂，你会感觉呢这是甚至说你会感觉一些思乡之情。其实如果说举个例子，再举个例子，我们有些时候会听到一些演讲。语言呢，它为什么可怕呢？它可怕之处就在这里。你在听一场演讲的时候，可能所有人，绝大多数部分的人，都会很赞同演讲者的说法，那么他们会起身鼓掌，甚至说那个什么甚至说呼喊 来支持，通过呼喊来支持演讲者的言论。即使说你自己会不支持这些言论，但是你听到其他人在鼓掌的时候，你也会自由不主的跟着一块鼓掌，即使说你不支持这些言论。为什么会这样呢？这就是潜藏在人性中一块小部分，那么就是人想要合群。那么你合群的话，你看其他人在鼓掌，你自己也肯定会鼓掌，即使说你不支持他的言论。这也就是为什么 nationalism and language 很强大，当然是他们也是很可怕的东西。那么这个东西呢，我会在下一堂课里边讲到。We will talk about this in the next lecture, in the speeches of Hitler. So next we have the Industrial Revolution. The beginning of the Industrial Revolution was marked by the Jenny spinning machine, invented by the British worker Hugh Lewis. And the symbol of the Industrial Revolution is what? Modified steam engine. Note that the steam engine was not invented by Watt, but it was modified by him. And there was a series of technological revolutions that caused a major leap from manual labor to power machine production. So then the Industrial Revolution spread to England, from England and then to the entire European continent, and spread to North America in the late 19th century. Later, the Industrial Revolution spread to countries all over the world, improving people's lives. Among these world-changing inventions, some war machines appeared, new cannons, battleships, and airplanes were served for military purposes, and War 4 to be continued. Unless you have any questions, the lecture is over. You may leave now.